So I wasn't actually going to be live today because I'm traveling and I'm here in Nashville. And when I looked at the markets this morning, I saw Bitcoin hadn't really moved. It's still at 66,295. I then looked at ETH, and even though we had what was probably the biggest event in ETH's lifetime, or specifically in this year for ETH, I saw that ETH hadn't moved. And then I looked at the bubbles didn't show too much, and I thought there's really no point in doing a show. But then I read this tweet, and this tweet said, it was a tweet from 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗧, and he said, patterns are all matching, it's all systems go. And I thought to myself, hold on a second, what's he talking about? The market's not moving, but he's saying we're ready for takeoff, and it's all systems go. Then I started to research the market. I woke up and I started researching the market, and I realized that Chris is on the ball, and that it is all systems go. And in about 3 days, we're gonna get ready for liftoff. We've got 3 days to get ready for liftoff, because I think that it's all systems go, and in the next 3 days this market is about to take off, and I'm going to show you exactly why, and I'm also going to show you exactly which ecosystems are the ones that are going to take off, because I've got 4 ecosystems that are going to take off when all systems are go. Then if you're a Cardano holder, or if you've ever been a Cardano holder, we have the biggest news of the year for Cardano. You've got to stay tuned for this. Really, it is one of the biggest pieces of news for Cardano. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, and I got to show it to you. So I'm in Nashville. I wasn't going to bring a show, but I'm here. I'm a little bit late, but I'm bringing you crypto love, and I'm bringing you crypto wisdom, because there's only 3 days to go. So let's get going, guys. I love it when I read the comments when I'm traveling, and everyone says like, oh, how can Run be so late, and Run's so late, and he hasn't bought us, he's not here, how can he be so late? Guys, I'm traveling. I just got to my hotel room. I've just brought everything up. You can see I set up. In fact, on Twitter, I'll post a picture of what my setup actually looks like. You won't believe the conditions under which I'm streaming, but I'm here, and I'm bringing you crypto love, and I'm bringing you crypto wisdom, because I've got a lot to talk to you guys about today. Probably one of the most exciting shows we're ever going to do. So listen, if you're here, help me because we're late. Smash the like button. That'll tell everybody that although we were late, we are actually here, and we are actually bringing crypto love and crypto wisdom on an amazing day like this. Also, if you're not already subscribed, help us get to 1 million subscribers. We are 961,350 subscribers. We really want to get to 1 million as quickly as possible, and get that medallion from YouTube. All you need to do is subscribe as quickly as possible. And then let's get going. Let's get going with the alpha. And as I said, there's a lot of alpha today. And I really need you guys to smash that like button to get people here. I see that most of the people are here, but not everybody that usually watches our shows is actually here. So let me show you why at first glance it didn't seem like there was much going on. I mean, if you look at the bubbles, first glance, there's really not much going on. Athena's moving. I'll show you why Athena's moving. Tau is moving. 𝗏𝗏𝗧 is moving. Flow is moving. I'll show you why Flow is moving. In fact, I'll show you why all of these tokens are moving. But the main thing is that if you look at Bitcoin's not really moving, right? If you look at where Bitcoin is, we're still above the mid-level of this range, which is for me very encouraging. But no real movement. But that's because people aren't looking properly. And I'll show you why people may be missing the point by saying, oh, Bitcoin's not moving, it's boring time on the markets. There's going to be 3 days. In 3 days, this thing is about to take off. And I'm going to show you why it's 3 days and how high this thing is actually going to go. And I'm going to show you the ecosystems. The other thing that, you could say was kind of boring was ETH. ETH had its biggest day yesterday. It was the ETH ETF launch. We've been waiting. It was ETH's 10th birthday, and we got ETH's ETF launch. And a lot of people have been waiting for this ETF launch, and people were saying, well, you've heard of buy the news or sell the news, but you haven't heard of do nothing on the news. May I now present you with do nothing on the news? That's what 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 says. He says, may I now present you with do nothing on the news? And that's because nothing happened to ETH yesterday. As you can see, the ETF launched. We didn't even get $100 or $200 worth of movement on ETH. And again, the same thing with Bitcoin. I think a lot of people were expecting ETH to perform the same way that Bitcoin did when the ETF launched. And how did Bitcoin perform when the ETF launched? We had a 22% drawdown in Bitcoin. So a lot of people were confused. They were saying, is this going to be a buy the news, or is this going to be a sell the news? And because Bitcoin was a sell the news event, people said, okay, well then ETH should be a sell the news event. The reality is that there's no way that could have happened. And that's because you'll notice that when Bitcoin filed for the ETF, Bitcoin went up like 100 or 200% between the time that they filed for the ETF and the time of the ETF launch, right? And there were a lot of people that speculated around this price move over here, that speculated around the ETF. Then when the ETF was launched, well, the people that speculated about the ETF wanted to get out of the Bitcoin trade. The people that, and that was this little dip over here, and then we were ready to go to Valhalla. With ETH, because the ETH ETF caught us by surprise, we never had that like massive speculation pump. And so people that were expecting it to be for it to be a sell the news event, I'm kind of asking them, well, what news do you want to sell? We didn't buy the news. And if you didn't buy the news, well, then there's really not much use in terms of selling the news. Now let's actually analyze what happened yesterday, because I think that this is where most people aren't actually seeing what happened around the ETH ETF yesterday. And I understand why. Because at face value, the ETH ETF was extremely disappointing. What if you look at the plain numbers around the ETH ETF, we had a net inflow of $106 million, which is like, honestly, $106 million net inflow for ETH is for ants, right? But it's not all about what the net number is. You have to dig deeper than the net number is. And if you do dig deeper than the net number is, what you'll see is that there was a $484 million outflow out of ETH, which is the Grayscale ETH Trust. That's nearly $500 million in outflow from the ETH. And then there was another $500 million of inflow from new demand from the new ETF. So what actually happened here? We had 5% of the total supply in the ETH actually selling out yesterday. And you can kind of see it if you look here. Let me actually zoom into the 1 month. You can see they've now lost 5% of the ETH. Now, that's a lot of ETH. Losing 5% of your ETH in 1 day is a lot of ETH. What happened? All the speculators, all the people that bought up the ETH, the arbitragers who bought up ETH and were just playing the arbitrage, well, the trade's now finished and they started to unwind their trade. And so 5% of it, 5% of the ETH actually started to sell. So people have started to sell, which is amazing. But then you had new demand, which came from Grayscale, from iShares, from Fidelity. I mean, Grayscale had $247 million worth of trade. In fact, yesterday's trade on ETH was over $1 billion. So it was actually a very big day. $500 million outflows from the Grayscale ETH, but then BlackRock $266 million inflow, Fidelity $71 million inflow, Bitwise got $204 million inflow. So what you can say is that there was about $500 million of new demand into a brand new ETF, and about 500 million people sold, and the people that sold were primarily the people that were arbitraging or that wanted to get out of the fees. So net, for me, the fact that there was a positive first day on ETH is an absolute miracle. We should be celebrating the fact. I thought that this ETH was going to sell much more. And so the fact that we've got a positive day on the first day, despite $500 million in outflows, my God, that is absolutely amazing. And you got to think that that's absolutely amazing before BlackRock start actually marketing, or before the institutions start actually marketing our bags. And I saw this, and I think it's just so apt for exactly what's about to go on.
The reason for the call today, John, is something just came across my desk, John. It is perhaps the best thing I've seen in the last 6 months. If you have 60 seconds, I'd like to share the idea.
So you know that now we're getting the ETH ETF, the institutions starting to sell ETH. You can see it, Franklin Templeton. I mean, they've got ETH laser eyes on their Twitter profile. You've got iShares. You've got on BlackRock's website. You've got Ethereum on the front page. You've got Van Eck also talking about Ethereum on their front page. Van Eck made an amazing commercial, and they actually used the pudgy penguins for their commercial. Look at
Let there be an open source network where money flows more transparently. Let there be transactions without resource intensive mining activities. Let there be tech that can unchain. Your code is the key. Let Ether be. Enter the Ether with ETHV. You can now get Ether exposure for 0 fees with the Van Eck Ethereum ETF.
So you see, they're all starting to actually market our bags. So what I suspect is actually going to happen is that what's going to happen is we're going to get the institutions going to work. We're going to get Larry Fink going to work. We're going to get Larry Fink starting to talk about tokenization. And effectively what he's going to be doing is he's going to be pumping our bags. And that's what's going to happen next. So I think there's going to be a massive, massive, massive pump in ETH. I think the fact that we haven't actually started to sell, I think the fact that we actually haven't started selling is a massive, massive, massive thing. And you've got to see that as a big, big, big positive, that there was no selling. Now, what's going to happen is I reckon in the next 3 to 4 days, we're going to keep getting big outflows as people want to exit the ETH, either to get better fees somewhere else or just to close the arbitrage. And then there's going to be no more sell pressure on the market. And then we've got this new buyer for ETH, which is the ETF buyers, and that's going to be sustained buying pressure on this asset, which has a lot of its tokens actually in staking and in smart contracts. And so I think the fact that we haven't had a massive bleed, and again, what we want to do is we want to watch the flows today. It's a bit too early to understand what's happening today, but let's watch it at the end of today. Let's see what happens in the next 3 days. But I reckon in the next 3 days, anybody who wants out is probably going to get out. And then we're going to get net buying pressure. And then, as Chris Berniski says, it's pretty much exactly what he says. He says, patterns are all matching, and effectively, it's all systems go. And I think when the ETH narrative actually takes off, you can kind of see that the ETH ecosystem, I saw earlier that a couple of the ETH ecosystem coins had actually started to move. And then I think all the real world asset ecosystems are going to start moving. So I think that Larry Fink is then going to go out on his big marketing campaign and he's going to start talking about tokenization of assets, tokenization of everything. And that's going to pump ETH. All systems go on ETH. All systems go on things like Mantra, which is for me one of the best plays in real world assets. All systems go in things like Swarm Markets, which is, remember I said another one of our sponsors, but also tokenized real world assets. They do have a token. Their token is, I think, one of the best distributed tokens and stuff like that. So the idea is to say, it's all systems go on ETH, even though it doesn't look like it, even though people are misled because they're not digging into the numbers. They've got to dig one level further and realize 5% of the ETH has already been sold. And probably 5% will be sold today, and probably 5% will be sold tomorrow, and 5% will be sold the next day. And then once 20 to 30% of that thing's out, then it's Valhalla. So I have my Deribit account locked and loaded with money at the moment. I've got a lot of cash in this account. I put $100,000 in this account. And the reason why I did that is, should ETH get a dip, I'm begging for this dip to 3,000 or 3,200. I'm going to buy ETH options and I'm going to ride this dip to Valhalla. So it's all systems go for ETH. Don't believe that it's not all systems go for ETH. It's all systems go for ETH. Ready, I reckon 3, 4, 5, 6 days, ETH starts taking off. Next place where it is also all systems go is on the political front, right? It's also all systems go right here on the political front. We now know that Joe Biden has stepped down. We also know that Joe Biden is alive, and a lot of us were concerned that Joe Biden may actually not be alive. We now know that Joe Biden is actually alive. And Kamala Harris is out there, and she's trying to be America's first female president of color. She's raised, I mean, it seems like she's well endorsed. She's got over $100 million in donations so far. The Soros people have endorsed her. The Hillary Clintons of the world have endorsed her. I mean, everybody has endorsed her. And she's starting to sound a little bit more presidential. And she's starting to take on Trump. So you can hear this speech. This was, I mean, look, I'm not a big fan of Hillary. In fact, I was thinking yesterday, if Hillary does actually become the president of the United States, I don't know how, I think a lot of my friends are in the United States. Those that aren't already on like a Prozac or like an antidepressant, they're going to have to start getting prescriptions for that kind of stuff. Because if this is going to be your president, I mean, look, let's not make it political, but it is political. It's always political. So, I mean, just listen to her and how she took on Trump. Now, again, I'm not a big fan of Hillary, but I've got to give her credit where credit's due, of Hillary, of Kamala. But this is like quite a big, like, this is good.
And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
So she's, I mean, look, that was the best she's got. Also, I saw some polls. I mean, just think, if she comes into power, many people are concerned that Kamala Harris would appoint Elizabeth Warren or Gary Gensler to be her Treasury Secretary. Can you imagine a world like that? Can you imagine this country if that happens, or specifically for the crypto people? So there's also polls now all of a sudden that have come out and said that she's actually in the lead. Now, obviously, these polls are coming out from very, very, very woke, very, very, very left-wing people. And you can see that if you look at the methodology of this poll, they asked more Democrats than Republicans. Okay, listen. If you do a poll around Democrat and Republican and you ask more Democrats, your numbers are going to be skewed. Now, I'm not a math teacher, but that much I know, that much I do know. I listen to Polymarkets, and the reason I listen to Polymarkets is because Polymarkets is not just a cheap poll. People actually put their money where their mouth is, and you can see that right now when you look at Polymarkets, Trump has a 63% advantage over Kamala Harris's 34%. So that, for me, is the most accurate poll, and Trump leads Kamala Harris in every single swing state. Now, very, very, very interestingly, yesterday, we got some news or some speculation that Kamala Harris might come and speak at the Bitcoin conference here, which was very, 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 very strange. But we did confirm it. We spoke to the organizers of the conference, and they said, yes, they actually have reached out to Kamala, and she is considering whether or not she wants to come and talk at the Bitcoin conference. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't imagine how her welcome would be at this conference. I mean, how do you go from being in the Democrats, which is like they've been so bad, and then announce that you're coming to talk at the Bitcoin conference? I said, how dumb would you need to be to think that the Democrats all of a sudden change their minds about Bitcoin and crypto? I think if Kamala does come to Nashville, she's going to get the surprise of her life. She's not going to get a very warm welcome, so to speak. So now you have Kamala potentially coming. She backed out today, and I think that what 𝗕𝗤𝗪𝗪𝗧 said is, look, we've been scorned by the Democrats, and her just arriving to talk at the Bitcoin conference is not enough for us to change our minds about her. They got a lot of work to do. And I think what Tyler said is right. She says talk is cheap. We need to see her firing Gary Gensler immediately. And if she fired Gary Gensler immediately, then and withdrawing all the SEC actions, then maybe we'd start to believe her. Anyway, she changed her mind. She's not coming. Mark Cuban says that she is reaching out to him with multiple questions around crypto. So the encouraging thing here is that even though she's not attending, it looks like the battlefield in this election has actually become very, very, very centered around crypto. All the presidential candidates are all talking about crypto and realizing the importance of the crypto vote. What does that mean? Well, it means that whilst the Democrats and the Republicans are fighting for our votes, the only thing they can do is make this industry better for us and more comfortable for us, either in their promises or, in the case of the Democrats, in their actions. And if we have a better environment, then that means number go up. And if number go up, then in terms of the political front, all the patterns are matching, and specifically, it is all systems go on the political front. And specifically, it's all systems go when it comes to Bitcoin. And I'll tell you why, even though it doesn't look like it in the charts, it is all systems go when it comes to Bitcoin. Let me show you the bright side. Yes, it's boring. Yes, we're moving sideways. Yes, we haven't broken away from the all-time high yet. But, this 66 or 65,000 resistance is now becoming support for Bitcoin. We are also all above the bull market support band on the higher time frame, which means we're back above the bull market support band and we're back in full bull territory. Now, all that's garbage because it doesn't matter unless the reason why I'm much more excited about it is because all this is happening whilst 40% of the creditors of Mt. Gox have actually been paid. And so they can be distributing. And what I've seen in the distribution is something that I didn't think we would see. Because you have Kraken distributing their Bitcoin to Mt. Gox because they're one of the distribution agents. And what's happening is there is an increased outflow, and that means that the Mt. Gox coins are being withdrawn from the exchange, which is very, very weird because we thought that some people who have been here for the last 10 years would sell their Bitcoin. But what we're seeing is that actually what they're doing is they're just taking them off the exchange, which means that these are Bitcoiners for life. These are diamond hands. These are people that had their Bitcoin from so long ago, that they're now holding their Bitcoin. Hold on, I see someone's calling me. Maybe he doesn't know I'm live, which is very disrespectful. Let me just say. So let me just tell him here. Okay, so, hold on. Oh, he's doing something amazing. He's doing something amazing for us. I'll talk to you about that in a second. All right, then, so the Mt. Gox creditors are all receiving their Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is still up. The other thing that I'm seeing, which again, I don't think a lot of other people are seeing, I want to show you a chart here. In fact, maybe you don't even need to look at the charts. I want to show you this. Look at the stock market today. You got NVIDIA down 2.82%. You got Google down 4.72%. The reason why you've got those down is because you got bad earnings, right? Because you got bad earnings, the stock market is actually kind of down. So if I take you through to QQQ, which is the NASDAQ, which is, I think, the best benchmark, it's down 3.05% today, right? Now, remember, I told you there's going to be that trade where the NASDAQ and Bitcoin kind of have to catch up to each other because they're slightly disconnected. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing that right now the NASDAQ is starting to come down. The reason the NASDAQ is starting to come down is because earnings are bad. Okay, yesterday we had Tesla earnings were bad. I think there was also, if I'm not mistaken, it was Alphabet earnings, and I think that those were it was Google Alphabet earnings which were bad. So what is this about? I'll tell you what this is about. The earnings are bad, which is showing a slowdown. If we get a slowdown, then it means that there is a risk of a recession. And if there is a risk of a recession, the Fed has to do something. What is the Fed going to do? The Fed has two options in terms of what they're going to be doing. Put more money into the economy or cut interest rates. That's it. And so right now, when the markets are starting to come down, just take a look at what's happening right here on this chart, which is the probabilities chart. One rate cut forecast in September, one rate cut forecast in November, one rate cut forecast in December. So now the market is talking about 3 rate cuts. So yes, bad NASDAQ, not bad Bitcoin. You see, NASDAQ is down, Bitcoin is up. Bad NASDAQ, not bad Bitcoin. And I'm guessing, I haven't looked at the gold price today, but I'm also guessing not bad for gold. Gold is up. Why? Markets say, hold on a second. Bad earnings. Okay, bad for NASDAQ, but hold on. And that means rates are going to start coming down because we're starting to get recessionary. And if we start getting recessionary, Powell has pressure to reduce rates. So now what you need to do is you need to be looking at the earnings. When the earnings come down and companies start talking about retrenching people, Powell wants to get ahead of that and start cutting rates because his rate cuts are going to take a long time to actually filter into the market. And so again, when it comes to macro, we are back in all systems go territory. So you got ETH in all systems go territory, you got political in all systems go territory, you got Bitcoin in all systems go territory, you got macro in all systems go territory. Then you got another indicator, which is also in all systems go territory, and that is stablecoins. Look at this uptick in stablecoins. Stablecoin market cap has finally started to break 160 billion after remaining relatively flat, which means more money is coming into stablecoins. More money coming into stablecoins equals, who can answer this in the chat? Class, who's paying attention? More money in stablecoins coming in. Remember, it's not money coming in via the ETFs. It's money coming in via stablecoins. Money coming in via stablecoins basically means crypto degens bringing in more money into crypto to make more money in crypto. Yes, you got it? Simple. So here we go. As you can see, we have the altcoins slightly recovering today. We've got some nice recoveries from Athena. I'll show you in a second why it recovered. Arweave, again, I think you need to start looking at Arweave if you haven't already got it into your portfolio, because I think this might be the last or some of the last opportunities to buy. Injective is just a slight recovery from where it came from yesterday. And so you've got all those ecosystems actually starting to recover. So that is all systems go on the all systems go on the altcoin front. Specifically, all systems go on the Solana front, and I'll show you why. Someone says, awesome researchers team. Yes, we've got the best researchers in the world, and we're building our team. If you want to actually be in our team, in our research team, and you are the kind of person that is on Twitter all day long and that really knows crypto and has been in crypto for at least 2 to 3 years, let's put the link in below so that people can actually subscribe to be our researchers. We need more researchers, and I'll tell you very soon why we're looking for more researchers. But fill in the test. You're going to have to do like a quick test. Don't use ChatGPT, because if you use ChatGPT, we'll catch you out in the real interview and you'll waste our time and you'll just be embarrassed. So just like fill in the questionnaire. Hardos will put it in there in terms of being a researcher. We are hiring 1, 2, 3, 4 more researchers. I need 4 more researchers if you want to join. It is a full-time role. You will be paid for it. So yeah, we need that. Okay, so where else is it all systems go? Tell you where else it's all systems go. It's all systems go for Solana. And why? Because now that the ETH ETF is out there, look at what the TradFi analysts are basically saying. They're basically saying all systems go. It is all systems go when it comes to Solana. Why? Because it is becoming the most institutionalized asset. Big $900 billion asset manager becomes the first asset manager to launch a fund on the Solana blockchain. So the institutions are now starting to see ETH as the next Solana. The only difference between ETH and Solana is, you'll remember with Bitcoin and with ETH, we had these big overhangs of the grayscale holdings, which could have flowed out and destroyed our markets. But with Sol, you don't have that. In fact, the entire Sol holdings that they have is $83 million. Look, they have $9 billion worth of ETH. They had 10 the other day. And now they've only got $83 million worth of Sol. So there's not going to be this massive overhang, right? So if and when we do, and it's more a when we get the Solana ETF, there's not going to be the overhang. What you can also see is that since yesterday, $37 million was bridged to Solana from Ethereum, which means people are starting to move to Sol. The fundamentals are amazing. The number of active addresses is on the rise. Their DEX volume obviously is eclipsing the ETH volume. And now what's super interesting is that when you look at the network health of ETH and you look at the network health of Sol, Sol is now at parity with ETH on all the key metrics, like the DEX volume, like the active addresses, like all those things. But Sol is trading at 20% of ETH's market cap. Okay, now zoom out, guys. All the on-chain metrics look good. We've got the ETH ETF. We've got the Bitcoin ETF. What's coming next? I mean, if it's not next, then it's next. It's Sol. And so what you have here is you have the Sol ETF. You have the Sol ETF coming, or maybe not coming, but you definitely have this ecosystem firing. And you can see that if you look at the equivalence, like you take the biggest DEX on Uniswap, right? On ETH, Uniswap, 7.6 billion FDV. The biggest DEX on Solana, $1.3 billion. So you got a 5x there, which is exactly what he says. Sol is trading at parity with ETH on key metrics, but still trades at 20% the market cap. There's a 5x upside. There's a 5x upside on Radium if you're willing to hold it, right? There's a 5x upside on SushiSwap versus Orca. There's a 5x upside on Drift. There's a lot of upside on the Sol ecosystem, and so that trade is moving. Now, again, why am I talking about Sol today specifically? Because I think a lot of people have forgotten that there's one event that happens every single year, and in anticipation of that event, we will see a pump in Sol. It happens every single year. Now, that event is this event over here. It's Solana Breakpoint. It's happening on the 20th and 21st of September, 7 weeks away. So in 7 weeks, you have the Solana conference happening. Let's look at what happened in the last time. 68% before the breakpoint. 42%, 66%. What I'm saying is, guys, we woke up 7 weeks before the event. We've reminded you that 7 weeks before the Solana event, we've showed you the data to say to you, look, maybe it doesn't happen every year, but hold on. It happened 1, 2, 3 years in a row, 2021, 2022, 2023. I mean, look, I don't want to say it's going to happen for sure, but I'm telling you it's going to happen for sure. I don't want to give you a guarantee, but I'm giving you a fucking guarantee. This thing's going to go up unless the market takes a shit. So 7 weeks, start getting your entries now. We know lots of news is going to come up. Last time it was 𝗕𝗪𝗕𝗪𝗧 and it was a whole lot of other things. Guys, it's happening. You got 6 weeks, 7 weeks, but don't wait 6 or 7 weeks because you want to get in at the bottom of the pump, not the top of the pump, guys. So, you know it's coming. You've been given the test paper, kids. Yeah, you know it's coming. It's coming. Here it is, 20 to 21 September. It's happening. Be there, or you're going to get left behind. Someone said sold to 320 minimum, backed by data. My last post has some criticism for not including ETH L2s. He does this whole valuation. If you want to go and check it out, it's 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. Go and check out 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. He says that his sold price is 320. I think 320 is way, way, way too conservative. I'm thinking 500 or 600 in terms of Solana. So again, all systems go when it comes to Solana. All systems go. When it comes to Sol, get ready. Make sure that you are actually strapped in. All right, another couple of places. We've got to talk about a couple of places which are all systems go. I've got 2 more altcoins which are all systems go for you, and then 3 more altcoins. One of them is Cardano, because I think with Cardano I've got the biggest news of the entire year that's happened on Cardano. You have to listen to this news. Probably the biggest announcement they've made this year. Let me know in the comments if you guys are Cardano holders. I don't know if you guys are. All right, so what's the next bit of news that I'm excited about? Well, also all systems go for 𝗘𝗘𝗓. Why? 𝗘𝗘𝗓, as you know, is launching as a new ETH Layer 2. Now, this ETH Layer 2 focuses on specific privacy. It's their own level of privacy, which is, I don't want to get into the technicals about it, but it's similar to fully homomorphic encryptions, which is a new place of privacy. But the problem is that that system doesn't really work because you need too much computing power. And 𝗘𝗘𝗓 found a better way to do it. They've launched their DevNet, and now they're going on to mainnet. Now, yesterday I got a call from the founder of 𝗘𝗘𝗓, who you know is a good friend of mine. And he says, look, we've been asked to participate in Israel's CBDC project against giants like PayPal and Fireblocks. Now, what specifically the Israeli government is looking for here is how can you maintain selective privacy while still having a CBDC? Now, listen. I'm not a big fan of CBDCs, but I think some countries are going to have CBDCs to an extent. And if there is a protocol that you're behind that is supporting these CBDCs, great, then I think that will benefit. Also, it's a reminder to people that 𝗘𝗘𝗓 actually does have this technology, and that when they launch the mainnet, which I think will be, don't quote me here, I think around September, October, then bang, we're going to the moon. So that's another one where all systems go. Another token where there's all systems go. I tweeted this yesterday. All systems go, he says, was this. I don't know if you heard about this.
It's like this Web3 model does actually apply here, where there are some really interesting early adventures in crowdsourcing technical completion. I would encourage you to look at a project that I'm starting to focus a little bit on called 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗪. And I was like, what is this thing? And it's basically a thing where you go and solve technical problems and produce features that people need, and you get paid in this underlying currency. That is actually a distributed form of venture that actually makes sense.
Like
in
a bounty?
Essentially,
yeah.
We're like,
So he's talking about 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. He's talking about 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. Now, why am I so excited about this is because I didn't think that Shamat, a VC like that, who's so plugged into the ecosystem of AI, would get excited about 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓, but here he is, and he's excited about 𝗕𝗬𝗕, and that's why you got 𝗕𝗬𝗕 up 11% on the day. So again, all systems go. Now, before we talk about the big news that happened on Cardano, because I know there are some people here who are still holding Cardano, let me know how many of you are up in your challenges. Hey, hold on, I actually took a position, and hold on, I have got a position open here. Okay, I'm $221 down on the position. So if you're not already trading on Bitfunder, just go to bitfunder.com and trade with us, and let me know how you're doing in the challenge. Now, just for those of you who don't know what this is, it's called prop trading. You pay $49.99, $229, $329, or $549. You trade with a demo account until you've got 8% in round 1 and 5% in round 2. And the third time, you are then trading with real money. That's not your money. And if you're successful, you keep up to 90%. So if you don't have $50,000, but you do have $329, this is probably the best risk return to trade. And you'll trade with other people's money, and you'll keep 90% of the upside, so you don't have to wreck your entire portfolio. Also, I'm giving you guys a warning that tomorrow I'm going to start giving away money to people who use 𝗕𝗓𝗔𝗓. Now, for those of you who don't know what 𝗕𝗓𝗔 is, we've spoken about 𝗕𝗓𝗔 many times before. If you could ask them to put the 𝗕𝗓𝗔 link in the description, we'll leave a specific link for you guys. You've got to use the specific link for 𝗕𝗓𝗔. What is 𝗕𝗓𝗔? 𝗕𝗓𝗔 allows you to move any money from any chain to any chain. So you could say, for example, I want to move ETH from obviously the ETH blockchain, where you see I've got 0.65, and I want to move it to Solana, and I want to move it to Solana, and I want to receive it in Solana on USDC. This will happen in a matter of 4 seconds or 5 seconds at very low fees. So you can bridge money from any token to from any chain to any chain in 4 or 5 seconds at very low costs. Now tomorrow I'm going to go look at the Solana addresses that actually use this, and I'm going to start giving you guys money. So go and check it out. There will be a link below in the next 30 seconds. 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧 has promised me. I can see him in the back here. He's shaking his head, saying it will be there in 30 seconds. Use that link, and tomorrow I'm going to start giving away money on the show. Next thing. Okay, so we did say we are going to have the biggest news for Cardano holders this year. Biggest announcement that there has been for Cardano this year. I've been waiting for this announcement for a long time. It almost changed my views on Cardano as a chain. This announcement almost changed my views on Cardano as a chain. And you know, I haven't been very bullish on Cardano. I think it's taken them a long time to come out with these announcements. But today we did get a very big announcement from Cardano. I think it's important that we all dig deep into what this announcement may mean and how big it is. So the announcement is that Charles Hoskinson has shaved his face. Now I'm not sure whether that's bullish or bearish. I do think that is the most significant announcement that we've had from Cardano this year. And yeah, I think that we need to do a lot more research about this. Who's screaming here? Why are you screaming? Oh, Cybertruck. I mean, everyone knows that if you want to win a Cybertruck, you can just go here. I mean, I don't know why we have to repeat ourselves here. Everyone's watched the show. Everyone wants a Cybertruck. I've never seen anyone who doesn't want a Cybertruck here. Let's quickly look here. For those of you who haven't been keeping up here, go to our show, Crypto Banner today, Crypto Banner. There we go. You just click on our show here, and then you go here. Let's quickly just see what's going on here. So number one, if you want to do Bitfunder, just go to bitfunder.com. If you want to become one of my researchers, I'm looking for 4 researchers, full-time roles. Click on that and fill in the thing. But most importantly, if you want to win a Cybertruck, you've got 56 days. Open an account on Bybit. Every time you trade, it puts more and more tickets into the raffle. And in September, in 52 days, we're giving away a Cybertruck. It's going to be fucking amazing. I mean, I don't know. I'm here and I'm driving a Cybertruck tonight, and it's fucking amazing. It's fucking excellent. All right, guys, listen. Love you guys madly. If there's news, I will be here again tomorrow. But don't complain in the comments that I'm here late and shit. I mean, it's early in the morning. I had to wake up. I had to do research. I still wanted to go to gym. You see, I had to shit, shower, and shave as well. Which, like, I mean, I'm not going to come here without having a shit, shower, shave. Yeah. Someone says say hi to 𝗥𝗘𝗅𝗥𝗑𝗅. If 𝗥𝗘𝗅𝗥𝗅 is here, I'll definitely say hi to him. I love you guys madly. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends, and it's all systems go.